mix of it, yeah, because it,
People would like that,
Deliberately
but
sliced the ball and kept hitting the houses.
that
no, yeah,
Almost.
yeah,
I'll have to just watch.
yeah. I've heard,
Please bring that up.
Oh, yeah, because
I
they're
have some-
hard.
Some comment. Yeah.
I'm gonna fix the YouTube. I have it muted. I don't know why it's doing that. Mute. Okay.
I think you unmuted it.
Here, anytime you're ready.
Okay, we will begin the Wood Village Parks Commission meeting on October 17th, 2023. And
Jump right into the
jump
agenda.
right in.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, first off, good evening, everybody. See some familiar faces, some faces I don't see too often. So see some faces I see walking through the park every day, through the office window, we wave.
Bright and early.
So we have our mayor here in the audience also, and we have Trudy Tolliver. She's a local resident who is interested in participating in the Parks Commission. Trudy and I have been communicating probably over the last 3-4 months. Yeah,
Awesome.
and
Welcome, Trudy.
it is still echoing.
I think you unmuted it actually.
You don't,
There's,
you don't.
I don't. I want to get rid of this. Stop. Driving me nuts.
There you go.
It was muted though, but it was going across.
Oh.
That's why I clicked that again.
Crazy
We'll just,
technology.
Especially old folks.
I agree.
I know. And
Those,
I'm not even looking at my text.
Thank you, Becky. So good evening, everybody. So thank you. So I know we haven't had a meeting with this many updates in a while. So really looking forward to this, and please anytime, ask questions, provide comments, feedback, interrupt me, wave your hands, tell me to stop. You could throw a pen at me if you want. But no, just serious, just we have I have a lot of information. I'm excited about Donald Robertson Park and just what's happening and been happening over the last 12 months. So I'm very enthusiastic about it, and provide you some staff updates too, and what we're doing to try and keep up with the increased use of the park and with our staffing. So with that, I'll just jump right in. So we're going to talk about the multi-purpose field restoration, the recent community development block grant project that was completed, the new park, some new park signage and additional park signage that will be coming in the future. we're going to talk about our new 9-hole disc golf course. Restroom replacement project, let you know kind of where we're at with that and what our hope is in the future. Talk about staffing and then the upcoming CDBG project. Submittal, some options and maybe some recommendations from Parks Commission. I'm going to throw a few out there and again, thumbs up, thumbs down, maybe some new recommendations for projects. Parks Commission non-council term update. So be a little blurb on that and then an open discussion, comments, recommendations from you all. And with that, I'll just jump right in with the multi-purpose field restoration. We've been doing this. I was looking at our budget since spring of 2022. We've been incrementally making investments, spring of 2022 through so far fall of 2024. So we're doing 2 treatments a year and everything from aerating, overseeding, sanding. And if you just have time, take a walk out there. I mean, it's lush, it's green, it's thick. Prior to spring of 2022, it was probably 50% to 60% weeds. And the rest of it was unhealthy grasses. So you look at it now and it's great. And we've even been working on the northeast corner softball, baseball diamond, kickball diamond, whatever you want to call it. Jim, I know over the years you spent a lot of hours out there. It's looking like an infield now. So, and that was all our staff. That was not contracted work. Our staff, I shouldn't say that. We did contract to spray the weeds with City of Fairview through IGAs. And but all the weed removal, the dragging of the infield and has been our staff. So I'm really proud of that. And they spent a lot of time on that.
What's the
And
timeline on finishing that?
I think I don't think there's really a finish. I think it's kind of ongoing.
Yeah.
Former mayor. I think we need to continue to make investments annually and we need to continue doing the maintenance because once you stop the maintenance,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
it goes to crap.
Mhm.
And to be honest, it's just the way, and it's really fast. So our staff has been committed to, supporting the needs of that field.
And it's
Beautiful.
much safer to play on
Mhm.
when it's drought and
Yes.
the grasses.
Yeah, and that's really what was deterring a lot of folks was not just the aesthetic look, but the safety of the players. Yeah. Unless, any questions, comments? I don't.
Looks great.
Yeah,
So
like
yeah.
it.
I know Council President Rios Campos, I know you're with Play East. Put your Play East hat on. What's the feedback from Play East?
I think it is just the investment of the maintenance. And so I think there's a lot of positive of how the field is maintained is just is the upkeeping of it, like mowing, the constant mowing, but that also has to do with, I think, personnel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but overall, very happy from where it was when we started using it to where it's at now. It's night and day. And so I think we brag about having this facility to us. So at our disposal, because again, there's everything we almost need is here. Besides the indoor facility, but for an outdoor facility, it has everything, all the amenities. And so I've had a number of good reviews from this location. So.
Yeah, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. Sorry to put you on. the
No,
spot
no,
there.
no, no.
So no, really appreciate the feedback and because that's good. I mean, when we start talking about budgets and moving forward and staffing,
Yeah,
because there were times when we were mowing twice a week.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that in itself right there, just allocating time to staff to mow the field, twice a week. That's typically it's, once a week, but the grasses were growing good and folks were using the field. I mean, not just for, soccer, but I mean, kickball, football, lacrosse. I mean, there were all and even people were picnicking out there just because they liked the, how lush and green and it was. So,
I mean, this evening you look out there, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's full.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's full, so.
Yeah. So I just want you to know, we're continuing that investment and that's something that's on our radar when we start talking about budgets for the park. Having that investment annually is, that's what I'm going to shoot for and continue that. Community Development Block Grant. So this segment of this presentation, I'm going to talk about the project that we just completed. So we were allocated roughly $79,000 grant to do some investments. The actual contract with Paul Brothers was just over 111,000. So we used some park funds and we used some grant monies to complete this project. Added some nice aluminum picnic tables. We added new garbage receptacles. We added some barbecues. And there was, I believe, 3 ADA barbecues. So folks with disabilities, wheelchair, have some accessibility to use some of the amenities. Charcoal disposal and also the tools. So there's a little learning curve with the tools. Even though they say heat resistant, they're not heat resistant. More investment and we learn from it. So yes, is there vandalism? Absolutely. But so far it's been minimal. I think maybe someone's stealing one of the scoops, so we replace the scoops. But I think really, and again, an investment like this, what do you have to do? You have to maintain it. So yes, we're pressure washing the picnic tables, blowing off the concrete pads. The concrete pads and walkways are all ADA accessible. So I'm just really happy that we're moving away from the old wooden, green and yellow picnic tables. I mean, I could barely fit in the dang thing. So it's just nice to have in areas where larger families too
Mhm.
can enjoy the area.
Spread out nicely.
Yeah.
I was looking at the script down here. It's rotten player benches. Rotten player benches,
Yeah, they were.
The-
really?
Yeah, it's
Does that
the
mean,
benches.
oh,
They're
the
rotten.
benches rotten?
The
It
benches
looks
were.
like the players are rotten.
Well, sometimes they are.
Depends who you're playing.
Here, I know what I'm talking about. Again, they were the old wood player benches
Yeah.
and they were rotten, dangerous. Again, that safety issue for users. As you can see in this slide, the new player benches, and they actually have backs on them. They're comfortable, new bleachers for folks to observe whatever game is going on. Again, getting rid of the rotten wood bleachers and benches.
Yeah, they look very nice.
I think enough on that. Unless you have questions, I can move on to park signage.
Are we going to replace all of the old tables eventually?
We're going to get into that at the
Okay.
next CDBG project, which is at the end of the presentation.
Ah,
But that is one of my recommendations. Yes. So again, I want to hear from Parks Commission too and get your feedback. So we can take that to council and our CDBG project is after the first of the year. So Park signage, if you've walked around the park, we have done a fabulous job with additional signage and upgrading the signs. This right here is a reservation placard for we have one at the gazebo and one under the picnic shelter. And so before nobody would ever know if there was a reservation. So Caroline, which is our community engagement specialist and events person, along with staff like Becky, and making recommendations on, hey, what does this look like? So now people know when it's reserved.
How has the response been with this? Has it caused any conflict, or has it been pretty well like respected, saying, oh, okay, there's times, and things of that nature?
I haven't heard anything
I
negative.
haven't heard anything, no. Prior to having the signs, anybody making a reservation was issued like a paper permit that they could post at the location, but this is a kind of a better way to do it. And plus the reservations are put out there ahead of time, so
Mhm.
people know ahead of time. But I haven't heard of any
No.
issues with it.
No, I'd say the one downfall is that one's already been vandalized. So the one at the gazebo, I think they've had to replace it once and then reinstall it twice. So
And the only reason I'm asking, just because as maybe thinking ahead also, but the field, getting it being so heavily used, kind of what is thoughts on reservations, or, letting folks know ahead of time, hey, the infield is reserved for, X partner for practice or X, Y, and Z, or, things like that.
I think we were going to try this out just at the gazebo and picnic shelter, see how it resonates, how it's taken, if it's working or not working. And then again, look at the field, maybe have a larger placard with some signage and maybe have this on there that for reservations for like the field or the ball field. Yeah.
So on that, back to that.
Yep.
So you just hang a little paper on that or something?
Yeah. So what it is, you unscrew it and it opens up and you can put a new
A
flyer
little
in.
sleeve in there.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And then this is the sign just behind the splash pad, between the splash pad and the restrooms. The sign on the left, that sign had been there for years. I think the codes nothing worked. It needed to be updated. So we actually used Connie Signs, which is a sign fabricator here in Wood Village. So, and so that's a new sign there. Again, added new language, more symbols so folks can understand.
We need a leash symbol.
Yeah. And we actually added one of those signs at the end of Elm Street as folks come in to our park.
I love how you guys included in like the map of the park, the pictures. I think that again just alleviates, so you can visibly see those things. So
I think that was important, one, to try and communicate with as many visitors as possible.
yeah.
Redundant signs and, so I think using symbols that's the way to go. So. More signage. We actually have signs at Hawthorne, at Tree Hill, at Cottonwood, and then one on the left of the screen here, that is right behind the splash pad as you're looking into the ball field.
That's a nice sign, because years ago, people walk around the park and not realize that you could go further.
Yeah. That and on the right side of that sign, you really can't see it in this picture, but it has distances. So our staff went out, took distances to verify everything, because folks were wondering, one loop around, the multi-purpose field there, how far is it?
Yeah.
Well, now they know. So, and if they walk to Hawthorne and back, they know how far they've walked. And then the sign on the right is just another sign, updated sign that we put outside the playground. Then here is just want to get some feedback. So we have an open space as you come into the park. And I think we've talked about this before. There's nothing there. It would be a great opportunity to put some kind of signage there. And we found a tri-panel sign design, not saying this exact design, but something like that. Maybe instead of the rock they're using, use a Corbett basalt, which is a local basalt, like that's at the Gorge Hub, the end of Hawthorne, the retaining walls outside our City Hall and Civic Center. Just wanted to just kind of see what the appetite is for doing some updated signage and maybe even look at maybe what are some solar options if we want to light it. I don't know, just so looking
like-
for your
yeah.
recommendations or feedback.
I like that. That's
Yeah, I think the more signage, the better.
and lighted would be kind of cool.
Might be hard to
Kinda highlight
light
it.
it with solar though.
What's that?
Might be hard to light it. with
In
solar.
that area, it might be, but to run power might be
Yeah.
a little challenging too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We see what resonates there.
Yeah.
Uh,
But definitely the sign, 3-panel is almost a perfect fit, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And even you could add some elements similar to what's in our council chambers here. We have the timbers, but if you add maybe some of the metal brackets, again, I think it's following kind of that design that Wood Village. That's the heavy timbers, the basalt rock. So, and that's, I just kind of
Yeah, I like it.
nice. Okay. So that is good
I
feedback.
reversed the way that panel is on there, but I see the photo was,
Yeah,
instead of it coming out, make it go the
Mhm,
opposite
mhm.
direction,
right. Okay.
like the following the
Yeah, following the curb.
Mhm.
kind
the
of.
curb line.
Yeah.
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 Because then
Okay.
the arrows would also match up a little better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good feedback. Good feedback.
A question,
Oh.
since I know we've talked about this, I also vaguely remember, I don't know if it was during a parks meeting or a council meeting, the wall along the side of across like adjacent to that by the basketball cage. There were any conversation of putting some there? Or,
I know we did discuss
yeah,
something there and I actually have some more information
Okay.
later on a project that I think maybe we can incorporate something there along with, there is another sign that Jim's very familiar with, Chair Mott, on the east end. And maybe we can incorporate some elements there too. Disc golf course. So we did a 9-hole disc golf course at the park. And I know there's, all the signage is not up. So I want to say that we are working on adding additional signage, especially around hole 3. Again, just reminding folks to be mindful of private property, be mindful of walkers and walking trails. I think, and then on hole 7, I think we're going to do another sign, just reminding folks, other than just the regular hole. Each hole will have their own sign, but hole 3 and hole 7 will have additional signage. It'll be larger, just again, for folks to be mindful with other visitors, other park users, trail users, and private property.
What do you want them to do? Yell 4?
Well, we just want to just be aware, And I former Mayor Smith, I know before the meeting had mentioned, maybe some not so considerate folks Again, if we can just put some signage out there. So that's why I was saying we are installing additional signage.
Just crossing the path and
Yep.
and then where it is. I mean, there's a bench right there and there. And also I'm concerned those discs are hard. They can hurt trees. They can really.
Yeah.
kill 'em. That,
And so, and that's, that was part of, being mindful. One, we didn't want to remove trees. So, but we are trimming trees, and as the course gets used, as we get feedback too, trimming which trees get trimmed and yeah. So definitely mindful of the nature.
some courses have the trees protected with.
Right. Okay.
So is the signage for the walker, sitter on the bench? Or the thrower?
It's for the thrower. It's more the thrower, to be mindful of that. And that was one, really what some of the hesitation on installing a disc golf course is the interruption or disruption of walkers. So, and it's number one has to be safety. So the more we can educate users, the better.
Is there something, a signage that walkers have the right?
We have not yet, but we were also working on signage warning as, you start walking on the trail. Let's say you're coming in off Hawthorne, hey, warning, be aware of disc golf course. We have not produced those yet, but we have discussed it.
That hurt getting hit with one of them babies.
Yes, it would.
What's that?
It hurt getting hit with one of those.
Yes, sir.
Disc air shed area. Is that we call it, we have the airport air shed area. This would be the disc golf air shed area.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in the disc golf zone.
Yeah, air shed, yeah. Okay.
Of a warning at Hawthorne.
Yes. So again, like I said, I know former Mayor Smith was making comments earlier, but so there is additional signage. So
Signage is good, but only if people read it, take it to heart, because.
Right.
After a nice noisy weekend in the park, you see there's mess all over the place. There's 6-pack cans in a bag, and what does it say? No alcohol, right?
yeah,
It's only as good as the people that are reading.
True.
It's all you can do.
yep. So along with, the disc golf course, we did some enhancements, throughout the park to assist in getting to each hole. And this was one of them. I thought our staff did a wonderful job. This is going out to the lookout, I believe, to hole 5 or 6, maybe 7 up in the hills there at the lookout area. And they did a fabulous job trimming the vegetation, adding some rock, and just making it safe for park users. Restroom replacement. So we do have an allocation this year in our budget of $550,000 to replace the park restrooms. Yep. That's what the restrooms look like now. You have men's, women's, male, female, however you want to call it, restrooms. You have a center storage area facility for our staff for cleaning materials and supplies. We want to go to more an individual user, which would more benefit everybody. And we're looking at increasing capacity because our park is getting used more. The current restrooms, if full, you're looking at 6 users, whereas these would be 8 individual users, 2 ADA accessible restrooms. So there's a price tag for these.
Yeah.
This diagram here is they're prefabricated. They're 600,000 plus. So that's not even including removal of the old one, doing the underground, the utilities, we're talking just 600,000, just this alone. Here you go. So significantly over our budget. So we are, staff is working with, our city manager reached out to LRS, who designed this, and said, hey, if we just give you a plan like this, what kind of a rough cost? And they said, oh, probably anywhere between $60,000 and $80,000 for the design. Could probably do it for, 250, 300,000, add some others, costs. You're probably right around that 550 range. So we do have an RFP, request for proposals, out right now. It's open. It closes on November 1st for the design of a 8-unit restroom, 8 single user restroom facility, incorporating again the timbers, the basalt rock look. So more to come on that. And as you get your weeklies that the city manager sends out, we'll have updates on that. But right now we're looking for bids for the design, and it closes, I believe, Wednesday, November 1st. So
Are we going to have them closed?
we are looking at different configurations as far as upgrades to electric blocks. So if we wanted to close the restrooms at 6:30 tonight, we get on, we lock the restrooms. Yeah, but yes, programmable locks. So yes, the after hours use would go down.
I think people kind of got used to that.
Right. And has cost a little bit of issues. There's maintenance issues that come along with that. So.
No, I'm all for closing time.
Yeah. Okay. But I think as the park gets used in the winter months too, we have to look at, because 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the restroom was closed from the November 1st through until spring break. But I think with the amount of users, whether it's Play East or other folks, that we have to look at some enhancements to make sure there's the freezing of pipes that is very costly. And right now, the facility we have, that was not made for winter use. And so we do spend thousands of dollars each year to keep that going through the winter months. Whether it's electricity or last year it was, we had some plumbing issues. So, but it's just not a facility that's made for winter use. So that's where the restroom project is. We did go out for a design build. We just did not get any responses because nobody could design it and build it and get it on site within our budget. So.
I think this is a huge investment that as the commission looks upon and kind of recommended to city council, it's a huge investment. I think falls right in line to the field upgrade and restorations that has been made. I think again, as the park gets used heavily, but looking upon, just like you're mentioning, some time restrictions and things like that to ensure that the investment has the longevity as the other one, 20 years, that we can for sure have this restroom for 20 years. But I think doing the individual stalls, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, because 20 years ago, one we have now was state of the art.
Mhm.
I mean, that was
Yeah.
awesome compared to the
Yeah, yeah,
outhouse that was there.
yeah.
So anyways, yeah.
Yeah, and if you just look at society and the needs of
Mhm.
more the same, it's in line with the single user.
Yeah.
I
Concept.
like that.
And then again, just the whole notion of having ADA accessible restrooms, I think that's huge. That's, that's an inclusion piece that I think we're being cognizant about and important as well.
Great. Thank you for your feedback. Staffing. We currently, we actually do not have a groundskeeper. We are utilizing express temporary services. We've have been fortunate that the individual that we have been using for about 40 hours a week now, and we can utilize services up to 700 hours. He has just been fabulous. And what we're looking at is rebranding the groundskeeper position. If you look at a groundskeeper position, just wages, we can't get anybody in the door for it's hard work. I mean, it's labor. It's hard work. The wages are, not optimal. So with rebranding and possibly changing it from a groundskeeper position, more a park and facilities maintenance, and maybe looking at bumping that wage up a little bit. So changing the title, duties, maybe adding certifications, maybe a right of way, which is a public right of way herbicide applicator's license as an incentive, some certification pay. And again, just really looking at the pay and because right now we looked at Fairview, Troutdale, Gresham, Erica did a few others, and nobody has just a groundskeeper. Typically their groundskeeper is their seasonal folks. So again, I think branding that position. So that's what we're doing right now. So we're hoping that everything works out. Chris is the gentleman right now that's working with Express. So hopefully everything works out. I don't know if you wanted to add it. Feel free to jump in anytime if
I'm
you
kind
want
of
to say anything, but
foggy. What exactly are the groundskeeper's duties?
to take care of the park, the restrooms, vegetation.
Does he mow the
Yes.
park?
Yep.
Mows the park,
Yep.
restrooms, vegetation,
Yes.
Trash.
right?
Yeah, trash. Yeah. Yeah.
So he
So,
goes around and picks up the litter too.
yes. Oh, yeah.
Sidewalk maintenance,
Yeah. And if,
Yeah.
there's time, then yeah, Mayor's Corner, 238th medians. So,
Snow removal,
excuse me?
snow removal if
Yeah,
it snows.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Lot.
one
So-
person.
Taking care of the playground, doing the weekly inspections on the playground. But I can tell you, just having our city hall here, knowing what happens in the park now during the day, a lot of time is spent on the restrooms, the picnic area and the playground. So I know some folks were, concerned about, litter and how clean the picnic pavilion was. I mean, that's where he spends the majority of his time, whether it's pressure washing. He takes care of the grounds here at City Hall, pressure washes all the concrete walkways. So. Yeah. Yes, Mayor. So,
Yeah, I mean,
like,
trying to arrange it
yeah, so
makes a difference.
so other folks, they don't have just a groundskeeper. Their groundskeepers, typically they're seasonal folks. So in that respect, yeah, we're pretty comparable, but that's again, you're looking at a seasonal position. We want a full-time position. We want something that is sustainable for years to come. And right now that position, as a groundskeeper at the hourly rate it's at, it's just not sustainable.
So the other cities have groundskeepers that are one groundskeeper.
Right, but they don't call it a groundskeeper.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying
Yeah,
is
but we're only going to have one, right?
for now, as needs go up, we look at budgets and,
Yeah. of course.
but yes. And understand we have 4 utility workers too that support
Yeah.
as needed, with
So-
parks maintenance.
So say Gresham. So are those permanent hires? Or are they somebody like 70s would send out or something?
No, so Gresham has a mix. They actually call them utility workers that work in the parks. But then they do have seasonals also.
Seasonal to come
Yeah.
in.
Mm.
So it seems like a lot to do for one person. Seems like a lot. Pay would have to be substantial, I would think,
Yeah, and as
right?
groundskeepers, I mean, typically are not the highest paid
Right,
position.
right.
I think what
Right.
Jim's trying to
And
get
this-
at it is there's a lot of work here for just one person. Isn't that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. of
And I
work
think the
there.
pay too, I think.
Yeah, and pay
Yeah.
both. So to get somebody to come in and do all of that, single person
Mhm.
wage has to be, I would think.
Right. No, and that's why looking at rebranding this position as
Yes.
a parks and facilities,
Facilities.
maintenance,
Sure.
that then you bump that wage up. So you're checking that box. And you're also getting competitive with your surrounding cities.
I think that's a good strategy because, obviously I work for the city of Fairview. They have their parks maintenance lead and then 2 individuals under that. And so obviously there's one supervisor and then 2 that follow plus they're seasonal. So kind of, I guess, to your point, once you get that, do we look to them having somebody underneath them?
And that's what I was saying. Okay,
Seasonal helpers.
Yep.
Yeah.
let's rebrand this position. Let's get it filled and then look at what are the needs moving forward.
Yeah.
Do we need to, maybe the seniors exiting high schools around here, the 18-year-old folks that maybe they need a summer job.
Yeah, especially maybe like spring to early fall.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, the heaviest time and the more, like when we need when the help is going to be the summer.
Right.
So,
So almost a supervisory lead, facilities
yeah.
manager or something.
Yeah,
of
so
that.
someone that, oversees those seasonal
Right.
folks.
So John, years ago, in my first job as a director of public works, I had a parks director, believe it or not, and we had 25 summer help, and then we had, I think it was like 15 all year round people that worked on our parks, and our population was 3,500, 3,500 people. And that's how we dealt with our parks in our city and so what I'm getting at here is that that's where I'm coming from in the size of the city. And here we are dealing with one person and with the parks that we have here. And we're able to do it is what I'm getting at. So
Miracle.
we're trying to do this with one person and trying to get all of this. And we've got an absolutely beautiful park.
Right.
And mind you, we had I don't know, it's a long time ago, but I think there was 7 parks in our city. So that was a lot of parks, and there was parks in every part of town, and they were irrigated. But my whole point is that they weren't anywhere near as nice as this park either.
Yeah.
And you got one guy with the help coming from the utility
Yeah,
department.
I was gonna add, we
Yeah.
do get support from the utility staff.
Yeah.
So,
So my hat's off is where I'm coming from.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, so I certainly am glad that the rest of the Parks Commission is on board with looking ahead at adding personnel in the future.
I think first step is getting somebody in that position.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and like I said, using a express temporary services, that's not sustainable. I mean, is it working? Right now, it's working in the short term. We need to fill this position, rebrand it, fill it, and then moving forward, again, listen to the recommendations. It's like, I think we all agree, maybe add a seasonal or two,
Sure.
you know,
Right.
so. Okay, thank you. Upcoming CD Community Development Block Grant submittal for 2024. So don't know if you recall, but the CDBG grants between Fairview and Wood Village, we're the two qualifying East County cities. We alternate each year. So even though we just finished ours, that was from 2022 submittal. Fairview did, I think, a sidewalk inlay, I believe in their kind of original, I don't say original village. Historic Fairview. So this year it's ours in 2024. And again, there's those picnic tables. So just a recommendation, maybe we continue on with the removal of those old picnic tables and utilize the area in the grove of trees behind the splash pad. That has, I think, one or two of the old picnic tables, and there's some open space. You can see that was the picture on the right is right behind the splash pad there. So again, that's one recommendation, maybe add some more, maybe concrete pads and more picnic tables and barbecues. And then this area is in the northeast corner of the park. There is a sign in that northeast corner. I think, Jim, I believe you fabricated that. But there's a grove of trees and it's just an open area. We do have a design for a nature play that we have not utilized. We could take elements of that and maybe do something in this northeast corner. Again, just a recommendation and just throwing it out there.
I think the Parks Commission has seen that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was for the Hawthorne Trailhead and Nature Play area. And then it was, recommended that we don't move forward with that project.
Right.
At that time. So we do have the design. We could take elements of that design and implement them here. We have some stairs, would be a great place for a slide maybe. Again, just throwing out some recommendations. Want to hear feedback from you. I know we had talked about lighting, maybe what that looks like, maybe incorporate lighting into the project. So utilize some grant monies to enhance some lighting.
That was our number one goal last meeting, was
Yeah.
lighting.
It was safety, which had to do with lighting. We do have allocations this year for lighting. I believe I wrote it down. Yeah, we do have an allocation of $25,000 in this year's budget for lighting. And I know Council President Rios Campos just yesterday, I believe, at the end of last week, sent over some information regarding some solar lighting options. Now I can say my experience with solar lighting as far as pathway lighting, I don't know if anybody here's former Mayor Smith and Councillor Clark, you're probably familiar with the 230th and 231st pathway, which solar lighting was installed. So in 2019, 2020, we removed that and actually hardwired the lighting.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't know.
It was just not sustainable
Okay.
through the winter months. So,
So the batteries didn't keep up. and what
no,
have you.
and I looked into adding extra solar panels and maybe upgrade the batteries, and it was just, the cost just
Oh, yeah.
went through the
That's what
roof.
happens to-
And at that time, and I haven't looked into what Council President Rios Campos sent me, but at that time in 2018, 2019, the batteries only lasted five years. So that's every 5 years you have that investment too. So I'm not saying it's a bad option. What I'm saying is I think staff, we need to look into it more. So,
Cost wise.
because, in this areas where you have trees, I mean, so,
And long nights.
yeah, again,
I'm not understanding what you want to do with this area. Is that where you wanted to put in the more natural playground area that we had
Yes.
discussed before? Is that what that we're talking
Yes.
about there?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Again, because right now it's an underutilized area of the park. It's not a big area. It is underutilized. Again,
It'd be perfect there.
just,
Absolutely perfect.
Didn't we have some pictures of some stuff?
Yes.
I should have, I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay.
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, it was like a little rope
Yeah, I mean,
crawl and.
The log that you walked on.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
some
so-
little-
yeah.
Yeah.
They climb over logs. There was a slide. This would be a perfect place for the slide. But yeah,
What did they call that? Was it like nature's playground or
it was a
something? like-
nature playground. Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, I like
Little
that idea
boys and
because
girls.
again, like you mentioned, it's an underutilized area. And so if there is unwanted activity, how do you remove that unwanted activity? You activate the space. And I think that can totally do that.
And the gazebo's right in that
Exactly.
area.
Exactly. So removing some of that unwanted, activity in that gazebo by having, people utilize that space more, I think is a
And you have
awesome idea.
access from different areas, the lower parking lot that's on the Halsey frontage, you would have access there. And again, maybe and some enhanced trails, walking paths, trails. But yeah, incorporate some of the elements of the design we already have. I mean, let's utilize it.
And you
Thank
said
you.
maybe including some lighting in there?
Some lighting and then lighting in the project
Mhm.
too, which would enhance other areas. And also too, as we do the restroom project, if that project moves forward, again, maybe incorporating some lighting there. So get elements of lighting throughout. Because I think that was number one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
I like the idea that you can work with the grounds that are there and design it around what we already pre-exist, which would be super.
Absolutely.
The trees, the everything.
So what I'm going to do after this meeting, tomorrow, I'm going to send all of you examples out of that nature play design. I apologize. I didn't even think about it. I know what it looks like, but I should have put that in there. So.
Oh, our imaginations are going wild.
Well, no, and then again, I'm going to share it with you because there was a lot of elements of that
Mhm.
that I think we can incorporate in this. And again, I just get your support and any other recommendations that you may have.
This is a
Something-
much better location than the other to
Yeah.
do this in.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to see a lot of natural things for
Mhm.
play on logs and poles to climb and, rocks. I mean, kids love jumping from rock to rock.
Yep.
Would we entertain a fence or something since it's kind of close to the,
We could see what our code
kids are
allows.
running around down there and stuff, if it gets really busy.
Right. Okay.
That's a thought.
some
There
of the-
would seating for parents to sit while the kids are playing or something
Mhm.
like that. That would also be nature kind of
Yeah.
seating.
Okay.
Some safety things there, maybe.
Yeah.
Road.
Again, we'd have
That's
to
a-
comply
that's
with
a
our
parking lot.
code, make
Mhm.
sure,
Yeah.
Or is it
yeah.
the
do
road?
Oh,
something
it's the
that
road.
code
Yeah, you're
allows.
right.
Fruit flies.
Yeah. So again, this is just another angle.
Go ahead.
Oh, We're always open for projects. No.
I chatted with a golf. Loves the space. I've observed them over the years. Gonna get another grant, that might be.
We had actually internally discussed possibly bringing our community garden back into this, this corner just on the backside. Because we have easy access to irrigation and it's a not really used section of the field. But, and then that we were also talking about doing it, rather than in the ground like our old one was at Old City Hall, just building kind of containers to make it much
Raised.
easier to maintain. So we had those conversations internally, just always lots going on, so it hadn't quite gotten pushed forward yet, but I can throw that out to you as
That's a
an
good
option.
idea.
How big an area is that?
It's wide open space, so you could really make it as big as you want, but you definitely have irrigation there, so we'd be able to do spigots and, you know, put in containers.
And would it be done like the other one where people would be allowed a certain portion?
Like reserve the plots, like Old City Hall is what we were thinking. Yes,
Oh, Pat and I
Um,
are so for that, aren't we, Pat?
yes.
Because we encouraged that before and
Yeah.
built it
And
and
it-
had it.
And in the old
Uh-huh.
one, while it was great, it was hard to maintain. So that's one reason for getting it up off the ground. And then,
What do you mean hard to maintain? How?
because a lot of people that used it didn't maintain.
It just
Oh,
overgrew.
It overgrew
We-
and it was pretty far separated from City Hall also. So it wasn't like visually in our face to keep an eye on it. But definitely running some kind of community garden program like we used to.
I think the containers would be great for that. because
Yeah,
they-
yeah.
They would be
Keeps it-
responsible, not.
And
for a
it
huge
makes
area.
it so much easier,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
then it's not just spreading like chaos.
Okay, what do you mean by containers?
So you build, I don't have the right word for that, but
They're like
yeah, raised beds.
raised
essentially.
Just a raised bed is what you're
Yeah.
referring to, not an actual
You could
Yes.
use,
porcelain.
No.
No, just a built up raised bed, kind of like what we, the ones you're mentioning that are over there in the not proper space to grow stuff.
Okay.
But you know, something similar to that, but that's actually has water accessible and is easier to maintain and is in the sunshine.
Great
So
idea.
it's kind of, now I got a few minutes on that real quick.
I do also like that idea because I do have early memories of my mom and my wife and my daughter helping maintain the one at the old City Hall. But I like the idea of it being raised because I think it also alleviates for, you know, maybe elderly folks that want to participate, you know, that can't bend over. And so, you know, having that mindfulness of having it raised is keeps it. And again, it's easier to maintain.
Yes,
I think that's the whole goal.
and sets boundaries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're responsible for that.
So you can put that on our wish list.
You asked her to speak up.
John, I'm going to cut the hostas at the soil level because
Oh.
I've read that if you don't, slugs get under there and
okay,
hide for the winters.
those are the ones at Hawthorne?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm just gonna, so if they're gone, you know, it's me.
okay. All right. So again,
We found our new maintenance person.
and then again, lighting, We know that's a big issue. Like I said, we do have an allocation this year of 25,000 for lighting in the budget. See how that incorporates, if we can incorporate something like that in possibly a CDBG project. So add that in with some grant monies and really enhance it too. Parks Commission non-council members. So everybody's term, that's a non-council member, term ends December 31st, 2023. At the request of City Council is requiring all non-council members to apply. So in the next couple weeks, we will be sending out applications unless you don't want one. Let me know. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll be sending out applications and hope to get those back by end of November. And then we'll take them to council for appointment during the December 12th, 2023 council meeting.
I don't
Not interested? Just let me know.
want to put any more work on your plate because I know you talked about those funny plants that I grow and putting them in somewhere along the creek
Yeah,
there. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
thank you.
Is that what they're called, funny plants?
Carnivorous. They
Oh.
eat insects. And they do eat insects.
Any more on the non-council commission, Parks Commission members? I think. Thank you.
Do we have a full board?
That's what I
No,
was going to
we have,
ask. Is there missing seats or anything?
There is one.
Oh.
So,
And somebody who wants to take it.
I'm saying it's vacant though, or
It's
is there someone's missing?
someone.
It will be
It will be
vacant.
It will be vacant.
It's been 4 meetings now, 5 meetings, and that person has not ended, I think, one maybe.
Oh.
Trudy would look great.
Strapped her right now.
Before, so I know to send her an application.
Okay.
So time for you to, I think I've talked enough. Any open discussion?
I have something I would like to propose. I would like us to try to be one of the tree cities in America, apply to be a tree city. I'm rather upset with my neighborhood because it's a beautiful neighborhood and everybody wants to move in there. And as soon as they live there for a few months, they go in and cut down their trees. And that just it upsets me. I have 20 trees on my third acre lot. I have 20 trees and I have 7 of them that are Western red cedars, which I love right this time of year because they're dropping all their debris on the ground. But they're beautiful. So and here we have, you can cut down any tree anytime you want for any reason. And I would sort of like a ordinance that you have to have a diseased tree. And if you do cut down, if you don't like what's being dropped, that you replant something else. Because every time I've cut a tree down, which we've cut some big ones down, Mark, that we've replanted and replaced.
We put more of them up than what we've cut down too.
Yes.
To make a point of that. But the reason why we've cut them down is because they were planted too close to our house.
Or too close to the road.
Yeah.
I
I know.
John's not going to remember this, but
No, I know. Metro.
no, what I recollect, and this was before I actually started, but there was a point in time where the city did look at becoming a tree city. And since it takes a while for the regulations to get in place, just the thought that we might do that caused a lot of people up the hill to clear cut their properties.
That's not
Oh,
true,
yeah.
Becky. What happened
didn't.
is that Metro came in and
And they were going to, it
And
was Metro
they-
that was going to do it.
they
Mhm.
came over the top of our city and said that we're going to force everyone in the entire area, Grisham, Troutdale,
All of
Fairview,
it, right.
everything else. And we're going to come down on top of everybody and tell them they can't cut down their trees. And then that's when, and they held these meetings inside city halls, the old city hall, and everybody got an uproar over it. including our city council. It was like, whoa, what are you people doing? And-
Yeah, I heard city council got.
And if
Yeah.
you're going to go in and develop property, that's a different story. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but-
can't tell people not to cut the trees down during development.
No, I think they just did a lot of clear cutting, but I mean, we can look into it again. I feel like their regulations to actually be a tree city were very difficult for us to meet as a small city.
There's a
Yeah.
charge for that.
With
too.
because there is a lot involved in being an actual, whatever the
Yeah.
program is. being
there
an
are some
actual
other ways
program.
of going about it.
Yeah,
but
no,
it
there
was
are
just-
other ways of going about it,
We could
but
just go
Mary was just trying to open the door. with
Yeah.
it.
ordinance, we could just go with protecting our trees. I mean, we are Wood Village, right? Am I wrong in that?
Good.
well, and you can do kind of like Gresham has like,
Gresham, yeah,
a
yeah,
permit
permit.
program.
Mhm. Sandy has that too.
That's more for like the,
Like
within so many,
12 inches or more.
so many feet within the street right away.
So Chair Mont, is that a recommendation from?
It sounds like,
Something. that-
sounds like it, yeah.
Okay,
I think
Yeah, I
we
think
should
that-
look into it.
Yeah,
If we send a vote or an opinion up
As a
to the
parks.
council, then they would know that we are in favor of
Yeah.
it. So we would have to decide.
Well,
that
we can
amongst ourselves.
recommend that we look into it, right? And send that to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when it comes to businesses and stuff, then we have some leeway on that because what they plant or how many,
yes,
Comes
we, in
to-
our
yes.
design and plan review,
Yes.
we can.
But for the private property owner.
No.
So, maybe some process just to kind of have a hand in it. But like you say, Mark, if you have a big tree next to your house and I want to get rid of it, and then I think a permit process would be
Love you guys. Let's save a tree.
well, you might get rid of one, but then.
Oh, I
put one
do.
Back,
Yeah.
Get rid of one, plant two or three.
Uh-huh.
right.
Chevron cut down, there was nothing wrong with it.
Got a great big one down. All two that I had a problem with.
He did. Oh, yes. Mhm.
I cried.
You're supposed, yeah,
Trees
you're
being
supposed to
cut
make
down.
something out of that. And
That
that didn't-
tree,
Yeah, walnuts.
Mhm.
We move on.
but City Hall here has lots of trees that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
put in and
And
Yeah.
park does.
placed them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they did.
But that's where they went in and developed a property and under those
Yeah.
circumstances, you can understand them removing trees because of the development.
Agree,
And they did put in other trees on the property.
agree.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, yeah, agree.
You're leaving now?
Thanks.
You're gonna go tell the newspaper, aren't you? Yeah, there it is. It's gonna escape. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
We're talking about trees. There's a tree in the park that needs help. It's ginkgo
It's what?
tree.
Where's it at?
It's at the bottom of the hill where there's a bench and then you take the way to go to Hawthorne or you take the way down into the bottom of the park. Somebody scraped it with a lawnmower. It's got a big gash in it. This has been years ago. The little guy is growing. I mean, he's doing his best. I think it needs some help. Do you know that tree I'm talking about, Mary?
No,
I think I do, and it looks like it needs tree wrap or something put.
It
in
does.
Yeah.
It does, and it needs moved. Because I don't know why,
Okay.
but people think trees along that way are fair game for anything.
Yes,
There's a tree that got hatcheted there that's just now healing up.
Mhm.
right.
know?
Oh, so
Yeah.
I have a little background on that. So
Yes.
there was a machete wielding
There you go.
individual in the park that did lots of damage. Probably over the last 2 years, I think. And law enforcement was able to remove that individual.
Good.
probably about 6 weeks ago,
Oh,
8 weeks ago,
good.
something like that. So let's hope that individual doesn't
Return.
return and take residence inside our park. But yes, there, now, as soon as you said that, it triggered.
Yeah, because it's
There
right,
was
it's right near that.
an individual that was harassing park visitors, vandalizing, damaging trees. And yes,
Yeah, so this tree's right beside the one that got macheted. so
okay.
It deserves a chance.
Anything else, Chair Mom?
Nope, I think I'm good. Anybody have any more input?
Over here.
I could just say a couple things.
Absolutely.
First off, this is my first visit. That's an impressive list of items here that group. I've been on the council for six. But it's a see it. Recommendations. I listened to this discussion. Wood Village. I know that we can add needle to where it supports. But it's an impressive list, and some of you, I don't know how long, but you. Sure, you're very. Committee, and it takes people like you. It takes citizens, all of us. To take a part in our city that is, I call it a gem. That keeps giving. And it's because of the work that all do in the city. And certainly it looks like. Thanks to you, Mayor, for serving. As it is a critical committee, and I don't know where you can.
Yeah. You-
So just my thanks to you. I did have, and this is. I know I've had two people, and I forgot to say this before the meeting, but I've had two people. Area in the park that, and if that would be. I'm not promoting anything, sharing. I definitely, and. You're out in that park a lot.
Right, right.
I don't know if the house. Share that with you.
Okay.
So main point is, thanks for. Impressed with everything that. Which we.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor.
I want to add one more thing, Chair. I know everybody wants to get going. It's after 7:00. But a lot of, so these recommendations, the folks that are on council, Council President Rios Campos, Councilor Clark, you have the mayor back here. We'll probably be hearing a lot of this during the 2024 February council retreat. So I think it's going to be February, March timeframe. So some of these recommendations will come up when hopefully I'm still here presenting the presentation to council at the retreat. But a lot of that's where these recommendations come from, is from this committee right here. in this commission. So thank you very much. Sorry, I kept you a little late. Wanted to try and get you out here by 7. It's probably the most I've talked in 5 years. So Becky's like, yeah, I'm usually pretty quiet, reserved. I'm excited about the park, excited about your recommendations and seeing you see those recommendations get implemented. So
Thank you, John.
Chair, I'm done talking.
Thank you. I would like to say one thing. To see the park grow and size and use and everything over the past. Incredible. And I think about the park and I think about who it's named after. And how he would be so thrilled
Yeah.
what's going on with it and to see it.
Gosh, yes.
So he's a wonderful man
Get hard for
and
kids
it's
too,
yes,
you know?
and a wonderful
much so.
park. So thank you guys. Sure. That's all I
Thank you.
got.
Okay.
We need any motions or anything?
No, I think we have our recommendations. So
Deal.
Adjourn.
Marching orders.
have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Take care.
Oh, I'm not going to forget. I know.
Thank you for the
Yes.
Sorry, Pat.
You're welcome.
For the jam, Patricia.
Jam.